can you like just provide me with some insight as to why the 2017 film? Yes, it is absolutely awful. It is just, that it is a true thorn in the ass. But yet it is somehow better than whatever this tripe was.
I'm still wavering, to be honest. I think I am leaning closer to the Lee Cronin's Mummy, as it's affectionately called in the actual film. This is a podcast about Hush. We will get to it. Just need to get this. In fact, I was only going to make one comment about this film, but then you've opened up a can of worms that went missing. Bugs, yes. Little spiders. One of them is clearly trying way too hard to be super duper important and be like the start of a massive franchise, whereas this one's just like bandages. That's all I've got.
Sticky, icky bandages.
No, the only thing I'm going to say, and I really hope that you'll agree with me on this, because you occasionally do, is can we not just agree that this film features what I believe will be the funniest scene I will ever see in a cinema in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
That being when Katie is eventually found. I say eventually, it's within the first half hour. We're obviously recommending you don't go and see that rubbish. Shocker, we're not doing an episode on it, forget that. I'm pretty sure Dan would rather do one on the 1999 Mummy, quite frankly. But,
well, you're pushing it.
I totally will. But no, so I mean, she's back. She's clearly really, really not in a good place, and the nurse is like, yeah, it's fine, you can just take her home. That isn't the funniest bit. That is the second funniest, because that doctor was sacked.
Yeah, I was going to say that it is quite hilarious.
It's just like, nah, I'm not looking, she sounds alright. Goodbye. No, the funniest bit is when they get her back to their house in a different desert. They picked a different desert for this film. They've gone with a Mexican desert. And when they have to get her up the stairs, a normal human would take her out of the wheelchair, just walk her upstairs, and then place her in the bed.
They made it so much harder for themselves, didn't they?
And instead, they keep her in said wheelchair and just backwards up the stairs. I really had to suppress laughter.
It's a film.
Barely.
It was indeed made.
It's barely a film. And
well, you could realistically say that the most hilarious thing in it is just how terrible this film actually is. That's it. There is nothing more to say on it. And now we're actually going to talk about a film that we do like, and it's actually good.
Yes, we are actually going to do that. This is episode 145 of The Real Podcast, is where we're not talking about Lee Cronin's The Mummy, because I'd rather literally talk about anything else, quite frankly. I'd rather talk about Jurassic World Rebirth, and I don't want to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth.
And you don't want to.
I don't want to. No, instead, as per Dan's suggestion from just before the recording of the previous episode, we're going to be talking about Mike Flanagan's 2016 slasher thriller horror thing, Hush. Now, for a little bit, this was a little bit difficult to come across because it had been streaming on Netflix since 2016, and then Netflix decided, nah, we don't really, we're just gonna
all
get
of a sudden they just decided, you know what, we're going to take it off.
Yes, so suddenly, that's why you support physical media, which annoyingly, this movie doesn't have one in the UK. I'm very annoyed with that, because I totally would have picked it up. Luckily, Shudder currently still has the rights to the movie, so they've been streaming it on there for, I think, at least a year. The question is, though, Dan, have you actually rewatched this? Do you even need to? Excellent.
More or less because I've had no time to rewatch it.
Why?
Because
is it because you've been taking
somebody gave me a camera?
Ducks? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I knew it was going to be about the ducks. The ducks and the really henge pigeons of Newcastle, or Gateshead, whichever one it was. They were looking
the
mighty for
of Newcastle. Yeah, I was out. Well, the plan was that I had a few errands to run this morning, and then the plan was come back, rewatch it. No, that didn't happen.
Is it because you found another pigeon and thought, yes?
I found swans. And I found other ducks, and I found other breeds of ducks.
At what point does this podcast just become like a photography podcast? It's going to be quite difficult to do because it's audio only. Just like, I promise, his photo's really good. You can't see it, but we're going to talk about it.
I did just end up like rewatching like clips from what you could say are the best moments in the film to compensate.
Okay, well, this will be an interesting one to do. As with our previous retrospectives of late, we'll just do our usual initial thoughts and then current thoughts. Slightly difficult for one of us. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't resist. And then we've got a bunch of questions about specific parts of the movie. And then, of course, the final question of the survival guide, which next episode is going to be a bit difficult. I'll probably just omit that one. We'll get to that at the end. He's currently thinking, which one was it?
Yeah, no clue.
I forgot as well, so it was fine. Until literally about an hour ago. So talking about Hush from 2016. I hadn't watched the movie, as it turns out, for about 10 years. Which is kind of scary to say that this movie's 10 years old. So I watched it pretty soon after it first came out. Because I did have Netflix back then. I'd forgotten if I'd gotten it just before Stranger Things rocked up or just after. I think it was somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But I watched Hush pretty early on. Really liked it. Didn't watch it again. Not any particular reason, to be honest. I think it was one of those ones where I thought I'm probably not going to find myself rewatching it that much. So there was quite a bit that I'd forgotten about for a movie that's only like 80 odd minutes. It's really, really brief.
Yeah, I mean, an hour and 22 minutes is
okay. There we go. I was only
the runtime here.
2 minutes off. So there was quite a bit that I'd completely forgotten about, and looking at other reviews of the movie in general is still really positive. And like I say, I rewatching it was about 4 or 5 days ago, as of when we're recording this. Again, really, really solid. There's a few bits that we'll get into that I'm not really sure where I stand on, but overall, as what I honestly thought initially was Mike Flanagan's first movie, because I think my concept of time with some of his earlier works is a bit off. Turns out at least Oculus is a few years older than this, which is very good. I got to that one, I think, actually only a couple of years ago. I think I got to
still
it
yet to watch that.
Yeah, it's quite good.
As long as it's better than Doctor Sleep, I'm fine with that.
See, that's awkward because it's still... Yes, it's between District 9 and Doctor Who and the Daleks in the 4K sets. I still haven't seen it. And I've owned it since 2020. Would you like to... honestly, before we get too off topic, that has been in the Halloween watch list every year for at least 5 years.
And you still have.
And we've never watched... In fairness, it's because it's on for a month, it looks like, on the back. And I'm like, I haven't got the time to do a horror film that's on for a month.
It's fine, I think. I've only ever seen it once, and that kind of tells you in a way. So yeah, maybe this Halloween you'll get to it. Maybe.
I mean, we'll see. But yes, in general, I still thoroughly enjoyed this one. What about you? What's your history on this movie? If you can remember, so long ago. It was a drizzly Tuesday. I had a cup of coffee. Big sad moment.
I just returned from pit.
Just returned from pit. Suddenly like a Geordie version of Hush. By God, she's bloody deaf.
No,
bugger.
I think I picked this up on Blu-ray in HMV because they had a sale on quite a bit of horror stuff, and I picked this up along with a couple other ones. So never
so
heard
it is actually
never
on
seen it before.
Physical media.
Yeah, I'm sure I've owned it. So
I'm gonna be furious. Just continue. I'm just gonna. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just like, I've never seen a physical media version of this movie. Like, I'm curious.
Or maybe I've seen it on streaming. Anyway, I've seen it
Anywho.
regardless, right? That's the important thing here. No, so I think it is probably. Is it? Yeah. Okay, I think this is probably the best home invasion film you'll ever watch.
Ooh. Apart from Invasion. That means nothing to most people.
Yeah, that means...
Ours is shorter.
Yeah, significantly shorter.
And at least ours isn't a
not
cabin
quite
in the woods.
The 80-odd minute runtime, you know, that's the extended cut, which is never, ever going to happen.
Sorry.
I've seen a lot of home invasion films, naturally, ranging in quality. I think that when people see this film, I think they think of a film called The Strangers, which the first Stranger films, it's fine. It's completely fine. Just avoid everything else. I made the very terrible misfortune of seeing the, what is it, like chapter 1 when they made a new one, and it was like...
And you actually reviewed it on here, which I forgot about.
Yeah, it's a film that was indeed made. It's not very good. I do have a couple of little issues, which I'm sure we will touch upon, and I'm sure it's probably been mentioned before on this podcast, one way or another. Maybe. I'm sure we have. I'm positive, in fact. I really like it. I think it's probably Flanagan's best horror film.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't seen Oculus yet, so I can't really say that. And Doctor Sleep,
yeah,
pretty forgetful.
I mean, comparing Hush and Oculus, I do prefer Hush in general. Though Oculus was still quite solid, at least from what I remember. It's been
maybe I'll put it in the Halloween watch, right? Maybe.
Well, as long as you promise to not watch that one for 5 years, just sort of balance it out. So like we both have a Flanagan film that we just haven't watched.
Unlike you, I'll actually commit to the cause.
Shut up. Do you realize how big that pile is every year? Like, honestly.
Yeah, so this is probably the best home invasion film, and that is just completely subjective. There's probably people out there who don't think it is, but for me, it's the best home invasion film I've ever seen.
Okay. Well, going into the sort of various aspects of the movie, the first one I want to touch on is something that has started coming around more in horror movies. I think mainstream-wise, it probably started with something like A Quiet Place, but I argue it was this. And that is centering a horror film or a thriller around a character with a perceived disability. So in the case with A Quiet Place, one of the kids...
When did Quiet Place come out? Was that
2018? Yeah, so it was only a couple of years after.
It's 2 years, yeah.
But because that was put in a cinema, people will remember that one more. Hush, as far as I know, was only on Netflix, I think. I mean, I'm going back literally a decade now. I certainly didn't see it in cinemas, or at least in the UK. In this case, you've got the character of Maddie, our lead protagonist, who is mute and deaf.
Yes.
Now, I mean, I'm not going to get into the stupid debate, and because there's not a right or wrong answer for this, and this isn't actually the question. I know I need to address it. It's the fact that the actress playing Kate Siegel, who's also one of the co-writers for the film and is Mike Flanagan's wife, which I think is quite cool. She's not a deaf or mute person in reality. I'm not going to get into the debate as to whether or not it's better to hire some... Like, it doesn't matter. It's a film at the end of the day.
The ethical dilemma. Yes,
it's an ethical dilemma that doesn't have an answer, and we're not going to talk about it because it's one of the least interesting things about us. What is interesting, though, is the fact that you've got our protagonist who has that perceived disability, but it's used more as a strength than anything else. It was actually... Weirdly, there was a point in the film, and I will get to the actual question... it was similar to, I think it was about a year earlier when the second Peter Capaldi Doctor Who series had a deaf character in one of the two-parters. I think it was
Under the Lake.
I think it was the one under the water, or whatever it was called. Under the Lake. Under the Lake and Before the Flood. Yeah. And then there's a point when that character's like going on down the corridor and there's a ghost like walking behind her. She can't hear a thing, but then as soon as she puts her hands on the floor and she can feel the vibrations, suddenly she realizes, oh crap, so she's actually using that to actually see, which I thought was quite cool. How do you feel on the choice to have this film have a home invasion thriller, pretty standard, but the character is deaf and mute? How do you sort of feel on that sort of choice?
Well, I think it naturally elevates it because it's somebody who, if you had a character that could hear, the film would be boring as hell. Mm-hmm. It would frankly be like The Strangers. I don't have a grievance with the first Strangers film. It's a pretty solid home invasion film. Every other one they've done after, though, is absolute pap. However, they are just horrendous. It's going back to the conversation about The Mummy, right? You don't need to see the new one, and you can probably just stick with the 99 one, right?
I wasn't expecting another reference to this. Shocker, we really hated it, as it turns out. When I told him not to watch it, he doesn't listen to me.
Well, yeah, because I got it for free, so what do you expect?
Well, me too, but that's beside the point.
I think it creates a lot of tension. And, there's a lot of scenes where he's just outside, he's walking around, and she can't hear that, and you're just like, oh, damn, this is getting pretty, just look, please. So, yeah, I think it elevates it a bit.
Yeah,
it'd be like A Quiet Place. Like, if A Quiet Place wasn't centered around the concept of sound, what kind of film would it be? I mean, it certainly wouldn't be called A Quiet Place, for one. A loud place.
Well, not exactly. I mean, let's face it, we've technically seen that a little bit in A Quiet Place Day 1, where the character just isn't mute, but just doesn't really talk.
Yeah.
Suddenly, having a character who just talks all the time, it's going to be like a very, very quick film. It's like, oh, they're dead, never mind.
A very
the
brief
end.
place. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I feel like it's used to its advantage here, because then you can kind of twist the sort of tropes you expect with a home invasion thriller, because, there's been at least 6.7 million since the dawn of cinema. And a lot of them at this point, we know exactly how it's going to go. What I like with this is that at the same time as us realising how the tropes are going to change, the characters in the movie also figure that out as well, in particular with the killer, who, as far as I know, is never named, which I like. Mm-hmm. I like that quite a bit.
No, I don't think he's named whatsoever. I don't even think he's got like a pseudonym. He's just a guy.
Yeah, just the man.
The man. The figure.
Yeah, so like once he figures out that she's deaf, then suddenly everything you expect this film to be just completely shifts, because you're afforded that option now, because you're dealing with a character who literally cannot be in the same scenario as most other people in a home invasion thriller. I didn't actually realise it was actually, I think it's from the 60s, it was a film with Audrey Hepburn with a similar sort of premise, but she's blind.
Right.
I thought, right, I'm going to be seeking that one out next all of a sudden.
So it's, it's kind of like a role reversal, really, but the film Don't Breathe, where you have, instead of the protagonist, it's the villain this time, but the villain is blind, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's sort of like that, so it changes the horror of the film, I think, because for a blind guy, good grief, it's whew. But it's like this, I feel like the masked dude here is really sinister when he realises that she's deaf, because he can terrorise her in ways that you couldn't do to a normal person. I think, like, to me, I think of like something like The Purge, where you just stand at the door tapping rhythmically or something like that. Just trying to get a scare at them. You can't do it here. So I think one of the ways he does it is he like I'm sure it involves killing like one of the neighbours, and he writes on the door in blood. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, you're a bit of a sinister guy, aren't you?
Well, that's the thing as well, because the thing that I'd forgotten, because it doesn't take long for him to turn up. It's like within the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, something
and
like that.
It also doesn't take long for him to actually get in the house.
No.
Which I love. And especially because one of the things I wanted to ask you about, if you can answer it, considering it's been a while since you'd seen it, is the fact that the mask that he's wearing is really not on for very long. And it's once he figures out fully that she is not in the position that he thought she was going to be in. He's like, right, well, I can get away with taking my mask off, because now I'm just going to mess with her. And I'd heard a lot of criticism saying he should have kept the mask on for longer. I argue no. I think because of the fact that this movie's been twisted into something else entirely, you can get away with having your masked killer unmasked very early on, and it's still working as a sinister presence, because now we can just be like, I'm gonna do nothing but harass you now. I'm not even going to try and get in the house yet. I'm just going to take my time.
This overconfidence, I'm definitely going to do what I'm set out to do. I can afford to take my mask off. Mm-hmm. I don't really know how I feel about it. I do understand. Well, I have softened up to it a lot more recently, because I do appreciate that, it's bent so many rules already. Why not bend even more with the reveal of a killer? I think the mask's really creepy.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's a shame that it is only really in for so long. I would have maybe liked it if it was just worn for that little bit longer. But I think the kind of like the shot where he takes it off is really cool, actually.
Yeah. It reminded me, annoyingly, didn't think I was going to reference it again, at least for a while, in Scream 6, with the opening of that.
Yeah.
Which, granted, don't like the film, but it's a nice twist on the fact that, oh yeah, I'm just going to take the mask off now,
Yeah,
and suddenly you're like,
because
oh, I don't know what to do with this
again,
new
you've got
information.
films like, the 100 million versions of The Purge where they just walk around in masks. There's not any like unmasking really. It's the same with The Strangers. There's no unmasking with the three killers. Well, here it's
I
different.
suppose Halloween as well, to a certain extent, because you just don't see Michael. I mean, like you don't need to see his face.
It depends what you watch really. Like, I mean, if you're going all out Halloween 5 or 40ween.
Michael Mybrows.
Michael Eyebrows. Yeah, that one. Or
That
even
one.
No, I think it applies to a lot of films, not just straight up home invasion films, but slasher films as well. I think with Scream, obviously, with a couple of the Friday the 13th films. But then again, it just sort of pays off for that because you see what a disfigured mess the guy is. He's a really, really rotting. Who. Like, if we had such a thing as smell-o-vision, I'd probably be retching, put it that way. But no, I think I've warmed up to it a lot more than I did when I first saw it. I thought, this is such a shame because the mask is creepy as hell.
Yeah, and I think because in a different world when this is a more typical standard protagonist that you're dealing with, odds are the mask is going to stay on for just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I think it makes logical sense. He's taken away a phone at that point. He's got no way of communicating with anyone because he's turned off, because he's cut off all of the electrics as well.
Yeah.
The only feasible way that she's ever going to tell anyone about his fate is if she kills him, and he's certainly not planning on that at all.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it actually does make logical sense.
Got this like really cocky attitude that the fact she has an impairment, he thinks it's easier. So it's like, well, why have I got the mask on? Like, she's not gonna go out alive, which he's horribly wrong about.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. Is one of the aspects I wasn't quite sure on when I first watched it, and I'm still not too sure how I like it, is the idea that at certain points in the movie, because Maddie as a character is also a writer.
Yes.
I didn't actually realise that the book she's writing, that was turned into a miniseries that Mike Flanagan did for Netflix, Midnight Mass.
Oh, really?
No. I mean, I didn't watch the series. I'm still waiting to get to The Haunting of Hill House. I've read the book. It's fine. I will get the series eventually, but I didn't realise that suddenly that's been put into it. That's pretty cool. I think that's quite funny.
That's pretty cool. I didn't realise that, actually.
Yeah.
I just thought it was just some random book.
Yeah, but one of the ideas that the film decides is that there's a few moments when Maddie's like in a precarious situation, which in fairness is most of the movie.
Yes.
And she's talking to herself, so there's usually a window or a mirror and you see a reflection of her, and that version of her is talking, going through the various scenarios of how she's going to get out of this. And I heard some people saying that it was basically perceived almost like the movie's almost spoiling bits here and there. And I thought, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't necessarily say it like that. But at the same time, I think for me, I genuinely think the movie would be better finding an alternate way of doing that and not having a talk. I don't know, it's like you've made the conscious effort to have a character who is deaf and mute.
Yeah.
And suddenly feels like, are you struggling to sustain that for the full 82 minutes? I don't know. I mean, it might just be me.
I think it would be understandable if they did struggle with it because, if you've got an 80-minute film that relies heavily on sound, like Quiet Place, it works for a Quiet Place, but with here, it's a bit different. You're not dealing with, like, quadruped monsters from outer space. You're dealing with...
Yeah, that would have ruined it.
Yeah. You're dealing with a guy in a mask.
Quite quickly.
It'd be like having Halloween. True. Yeah. But no, I wouldn't say it spoils anything, to be honest. I think I don't know. I can't really... I don't know where they're coming from, really. Yeah.
We're very good at this, as you can tell. This is 145 episodes. I'm like,
really
I like that.
For this, yeah.
Well,
really.
Well, one of the ones that's... I'm still... I mean, I've always been iffy on this, and this probably just because we're British. We're not in America. It's hard to do a cabin in the woods scenario in the UK because you just don't get that. You just get a farm instead. In this case, you've got, again, a deaf and mute protagonist who's also isolating herself in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. That's probably the most unrealistic part of the movie. And I know that I'm sure there's a line of dialogue which says, this isn't by choice. It's, something else has happened and she's put herself away for a bit. Fine. If it was like a detox retreat, I could buy that more, to be honest.
It's the fact she's just isolated out in the middle of the woods, so you kind of need some context as to why she's out there.
Yeah,
anyway.
Because I feel like as well, I'm not trying to say that this character should be even more prepared than usual, because no one's assuming there's a psychopath is just going to rock up and just mess with them. Funnily enough, not everyone assumes that's going to happen, but at the same time, by 2016 standards, this is something that happens in movies a lot. And it's like, we've got to try and make this feel as real as possible. And I like that's one of my biggest issues with the movie. Is I just don't buy the setting, or the fact she wouldn't even have CCTV around the house. So that, she can't hear anything. Computer? She's using one for most of the movie.
Not even a ring doorbell.
And there's just windows everywhere. And I'm like, get some curtains or some blinds. Honestly, little bit of privacy.
Yeah, it's a really like open cabin, isn't it? The windows are massive.
What it feels like, honestly, and it's always like, there's like a line drawn with it, is that it feels less like a house and it feels more like a film set. And that's always the issue with these things, where it's like, you gotta make it feel like the Americans are really difficult with this, because their houses are stupidly massive for no reason at all. And I don't buy that anyone...
Why are your houses so big? Why?
It's the only part of the movie where I genuinely feel the house doesn't feel lived in at all. And unless I've missed a line of dialogue where there's something else going on, then fair enough. But I did take this as her house.
Yeah, I can't honestly remember, but I don't know. I think it just would have been good if there was a little bit of context. Like even if it was something as simple as, I've just got to get away from the city or something like that. I'm like, okay, believe it a bit more. But I'm in the firm opinion that she's had something happen to her in the past, and she just wants to be on her own. So that makes more sense to me. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong, but you never know.
One of the other aspects as well is because we meet Maddie's friend Sarah at the start of the movie. Who lives clearly within walking distance, and then is brutally murdered towards the start. And then her husband John, or boyfriend John, but I can't remember which one, when he suddenly turns up at the end of Act 2 looking for Sarah, again, one of the things that I'm not the biggest fan of, for one, because the killer suddenly pretends to be a police officer. I'm like, you're not getting away with that with your outfit. You're just not. You're not dressed like Ghostface or anything, but you're dressed in civvies and a hoodie. Like, I don't care if you're classifying yourself as undercover. I wouldn't buy that for a second.
I don't know why it's always the police.
Yeah.
Like you're in the woods. Surely, like, you could have attempted to get away with the whole, like, park ranger type of thing. That would have made more sense.
Just bring a hat.
What's a city policeman doing out in the middle of the woods?
Exactly.
Like, instant suspicion. Like, if it was a park ranger, then understandable.
Because I think as well, especially when John pops up, and then there's like a very brief. It feels like it's a lot longer, but I'm sure it's only like 10-ish minutes or something, and he's constantly flicking between, I don't know if this guy is actually a police officer. I'm just gonna sort of hedge my bets for a little bit, but then just becomes basically a human shield for Maddie when he starts getting like viciously stabbed over and over again and punched and kicked and everything. And I'm like, did you just exist just for her to live a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's only 82 minutes. Take it out and it's 72 minutes. So suddenly I'm like, oh, so that's why you've done it. So you can technically make it feature length. But I was just sat there thinking, you could have done something a little bit different with this. To be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm in agreement, really.
Good.
It does just sort of feel like... Good. It does feel like he's very much just a meat sponge for this guy, just to brutally murder him so she can live a tiny bit longer.
Yeah, it's a bit... Like I said, I'm not that big on it. And And now, of course, we've come to the most fun question, as it is on every single one of these, which is the patented Real Podcast's Survival Guide of the Movies. That's not the official title. I'm just figuring something out on the go.
It's a
little bit long-winded. So let's put ourselves in the situation of Maddie. I don't know whether or not I'd say it. If I'm also deaf and mute, because I don't know if that... It's probably not going to help me regardless. Put us in this situation in a cabin in the woods, and there's a guy messing around and just messing with us outside. Psychologically, he's also taken his mask off after 10 minutes because he's not realised that we're deaf, he's just realised that we're just an idiot. It's like, nah, it's fine. How likely are we to survive before being outed for clumsiness? Because that's going to be my issue immediately.
Well, it's definitely going to be my issue. 100%.
Yeah, because it's like...
No, I feel like, to a degree, if he... You know, are we going off the basis that he's managed to gain access to the house?
Well, this is the thing, because if we're not deaf and mute, we're going to last even less time, because now he's in the house.
Well, yeah, what's to stop him from, like, you know, working away on the laptop and then you're dead? Because you can't hear him come into the house, so...
Yeah, my only benefit is that I tend to not just triple check that I've locked the doors, but like at least 40 times. I'm just that kind of person. Like, obviously, the amount of times that I leave the house on a morning.
It's probably going to help me survive a little bit longer because, you know, if he checks all the doors and they're locked, what's to stop him from just breaking in? If it's these like American houses where the windows are like the size of a skyscraper.
And with no curtains or blinds. Because that's the other thing as well. Like, just like, privacy. Please. Like...
Yeah, she's pretty much living in a bowl. Like a giant goldfish bowl. There's just sight everywhere.
What she's living in, essentially, is the equivalent of Sandy Cheek's house in SpongeBob. Just one massive window and a single door.
Oh, God. Except it's not underwater. It's actually in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I feel like check the doors, windows if they're locked, but he's probably going to break in anyway. So then do I do like the tropey thing of that? Do I like try to suss out the vibrations from where he's moving around because I can't hear? So
but then
are my other senses like
heightened.
Stronger? Yeah.
Are you basically Daredevil? The answer is no. Not even slightly.
Not even in the slightest.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna last long, I feel like. Although I would at the very least invest in just a little bit of CCTV. Or
yeah, that seems like a good idea. Well, for starters, right? Invest in some curtains to reduce the visibility of some weirdo just looking in the house.
So basically the opening scene is going to IKEA. And buying some curtains.
Basically, yeah. CCTV, yeah, definitely. Even if it was just a little Ring doorbell at this stage.
Yeah. Just like.
Does she have a firearm in the house? I can't actually remember.
No, I think it's just knives. And then he has a crossbow.
Yeah,
as opposed
he's
to
the
a
one
gun.
with the crossbow, and she just uses whatever she can, which I do admire, actually.
Yeah,
it could be. I hate those films where it's just like there's a conveniently placed firearm.
I mean, like, it's America, so...
Yeah, well, true.
Sorry. Like,
you know, the right to bear arms, and it's just literally within grabbing distance.
Bear arms. Sorry.
So I think if he got to the stage where he's just getting desperate now, I feel like I probably could do it on a whim. Like,
on a whim.
Like, is he going to be that stupid to follow me out onto the ledge of the house to fall from the roof?
I mean, hopefully. I mean, like, you kind of want him to be stupid. Like, I could use the argument that most criminals are actually quite thick. They're both probably quite intelligent, but also just really dumb because they're actually just committing crimes.
What's to stop me from just, like, holding up some sharp object to him to impale himself on? Because I'm sure that's what happens with the crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think she does that to herself. I think she impales herself with the crossbow, mistakenly. Or he shoots it and it goes through her leg, and then she does this really gnarly thing with the bolt. Ugh.
Yeah. Basically, she took an arrow to the knee. Classic.
Yes. So I feel, well, I suppose it's not making yourself a target for this guy if he's bloody Robin Hood with his crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the key here. If you
Yeah.
well, don't be out in an open space because then you're just a bigger target. So you've got to
Yes.
you've just got to act like you've just got to pray that you're A trained secretly and just able to dap around the place.
I wasn't expecting that as a reference.
Yeah, you just,
Is it because someone watched the new episode of The Boys this morning?
No, I'm going to after this. So okay.
Okay, that's fine. I
So
also will.
you've either got to be a superhero. So whether that be bloody what's he called from X-Men?
Quicksilver.
Yeah, that's the one.
I nearly said the Flash, to be honest. I'm really not good
I
at this.
suppose it's a mixture of all three, really. You've just got to hope that you have the powers of superheroes where you can just run at the speed of sound. So, well, light and sound. You can just break the sound barrier by running
Run at
so
the
fast.
speed of light. That'd be nice.
Running at the speed of light, yeah.
Yeah, just like I'll see.
So yeah,
I'll see you in
don't
12
be out
years.
in the open. I think is probably the biggest sort of killer, really. I'd also say if he's 100% determined to kill me, which he really is at this point.
Yeah.
Can I like set my own booby traps? Can I do like this Home Alone thing?
I really hoped you would have said Home Alone, because I was also thinking I'm gonna have to do a Home Alone scenario.
You know what I like about it is she is. It isn't just there's a conveniently placed weapon. She just uses anything and everything within our power, whether it be knives, chemicals, whatever else.
No, I would literally I'd invest in the curtains, keep all the lights on, play some really loud music, get a train set, put up a cardboard cutout on said train set, and just have him moving around the house the entire time. So when the man rocks up, he's like, "No, I'll come back later." The end.
Just have the train set just go throughout the entire house, but really fast. So you like get one window, then another, then another, then another.
Yeah, just like, how on earth are they moving that fast? That's incredible.
Like, I can just imagine sitting in a cupboard with a little ski electric set.
Yeah.
That's how I envision. Yeah, that you're just gonna outsmart them with ski electrics. There you go.
Yeah, that's the only time that's ever going to work on anyone.
Yeah, but maybe if he's incredibly thick, then he'd be like, okay, she's just running around the house now.
Yeah. Well, there we are. So we're proving that, yes, we can survive, providing we rip off Home Alone. Which is the case for most things, I feel like. Just rip off Home Alone and be absolutely fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, there we are. That is our thoughts on Mike Flanagan's Hush, as well as our feelings on whether or not we'd survive. Yeah, we'll be fine.
Maybe, probably not.
Just do IKEA for curtains, Argos for ski electric, and just keep all the lights on, for the love of God. And just hope that he just walks away thinking, nah, I'm just going to go and terrorise the house next door, which is conveniently within walking distance.
Surely it'd be wise to invest in like a backup generator, like surely, because you're out
and
somewhere
Americans
really
love
remote.
those.
So yeah, and it seems like a very American thing to just have a generator in your backyard.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be wrong, but it just sounds like it is.
Bloody Americans. But yes, there we are. Like I said, that is our thoughts on Hush. So thank you very much for listening to it. I really hope you enjoyed it. Dan's immediately checking the schedule. No, so for our next episode, we are celebrating another anniversary, even though I said I wasn't going to. I did think we were going to go at least 1 year where we wouldn't have to talk about a certain series that we've spoken about every single year since the dawn of this podcast. He's checking.
The podcast.
Yes, he's checking. Oh, the light's very bright.
He's been signed out of all his
documents.
Google accounts and he can't remember his password, so good luck to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Why have I been taken?
It was me, I did it. I didn't. Obviously, I haven't got access to your login details. No, we are going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Doctor Who TV movie from 1996.
I thought that was a lot later in the year, but hey ho.
No, I also thought it was a lot later. It turns out it's next month.
There you
It's
go.
like, I'm at like the point in the year I'm like, I can remember stuff like the Suicide Squad and Terminator 2, and they're still months ahead. I'm like, oh yeah, we've got other stuff to... Right. One of them is Shaving Ryan's Privates. No, I mean Saving Private Ryan. I'll go through referencing that joke at least once in that one. But yes, we are still going to be talking about little Docky Who. But one of the good ones.
That'll be an interesting one, because I've only ever
will
seen
be.
that movie like twice, so...
Yeah, it's worked out quite nicely, because there is going to be a remastered Blu-ray of it, though I don't know if that's out now or it's going to be out soon. Either way, I'm probably not going to get to it anytime soon, so I'll just be watching the one on iPlayer, but there you go. But yes, we'll be back in May for Doctor Who, the movie from 1996, so we'll see you then, and until then, it is goodbye from Dan.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Bye.